We'll set up now for a really nice supported version of pigeon pose. In this variation of pigeon, I recommend sitting up on something. So I'm going to use 2 blankets. And I have my blankets folded in half so they'll sit really well underneath my pelvis. And the reason for that, as opposed to just letting the hips float or kind of pushing the hips towards the ground, is that we're working on plugging ourselves in to the energy of source. So when we plug the base of the pelvis, the perineum, into a surface, it's like plugging into a socket and then getting that energy out. If a plug is just sort of hanging into a socket, it's not going to get a full current of energy. If you're just kind of floating above the ground, you're not going to get the support of the ground to stabilize you so that you can then move out and lengthen through your spine rather than sinking into your back. So 2 blankets folded. If 2 feels like it's too high, try 1. If you need 3, go for 3. Take your left foot forward. And then I like to use blocks here as well. So I'm going to place 2 blocks towards the front of the mat and then walk my left heel over in front of my right thigh. Set the blanket so that the center of the pelvis is right on top of it. Find about a 45-degree angle with that left knee going out towards the left corner of the mat. Tuck back toes under, lift the knee, and then press your heel back to open a little more through the front of the right hip. As you press the heel back, try and find the blanket with your right thigh. Slide onto the top of your right foot, and then feel your left foot in the front. Press the pinky edge of your foot down so that you start to get a little bit more into your left hip crease. And then I'm going to walk myself out until I'm really folded and resting my belly on the front leg. I'm going to take 1 block underneath my chest, 1 block underneath my head, and use that for support. So there's 2 ways you can do this. This is going to go underneath the sternum. This is going to go underneath the lower ribs. It's really what feels best for you because it's all about support. Make sure your forehead fits comfortably on something. And then take your fingertips out once again towards 2 o'clock and 10 o'clock. Come right onto the tips of the fingers. Cup your palms away from the floor. Let the weight of your head be heavy. Think of hollowing out through your armpits, almost like you're going to lift your arm joints away from the ground. And then from the right fingertips reaching out, think of rooting your left sitting bone back. And then from your left fingertips reaching out, think of rooting your right foot and right hip back. Rest your palms, soften your elbows. Keep a little bit of space and width across your collarbone. And as we move especially into some of these deeper shapes, just see what comes up for you without judgment, observing change in physical sensation, movements in your mind, shifts of energy, waves of emotion. Now you could absolutely just stay here if that feels like it's enough. Otherwise, stay low, lift your head. Take the block out from under the ribs if you have one there, and bring yourself over towards your left knee. So now looking out towards 10 o'clock. Extend your right arm. I like to place the block back underneath the head and then come into that side body opening. You could also place your head on your left forearm. Think of moving your breath from your left nostril into your right lung. And then lifting your head. Bring yourself through center and over to the other side. So you're now looking out towards 2 o'clock. Extend your left arm, open your left side body. Notice how your body may want to shift over through the right side and lift that left seat. Replug your left butt bone into the blanket or into the ground. And then take your breath from your right nostril to your left lung. Bring yourself back through the middle. Bring your block with you, set it down on its lower height. Come over to the left again, so you're looking out towards 10 o'clock. And then this time you're going to bend your right elbow, place it just in front of your left knee. Bring yourself back into a plumb line. So keep your right elbow here. This is why the block is nice. You're going to set your head on the block. 12 o'clock is out in front of you, 6 o'clock is back behind you, and you have a spit or a plumb line from your crown to your tail. Make a fist with your right hand, stack your left palm on top, and then begin to twist to look up any amount that feels okay for you here. Find your left foot, plug it in. Find your right foot, plug it in. And go ahead and unwind. Take a moment in neutral, forehead down. And then take it over to the other side. So bring your left elbow in front of your left foot now. Bend your elbow, make a fist. Take your head back into alignment with your hips. Stack your right palm. Unwind, face down. Walk your hands back so that you sit up again in your pigeon. You can do fingertips to the floor. I like to use the blocks just to get a little bit more upright. Either keeping that left foot as it is, or you might play with bringing that left foot forward a little so you get a bigger angle in the left knee. You can keep your hands in front of you. You could take left hand to the knee, right hand to the heel, or start to take your blocks out to the sides. Continue to plug down through the legs. And then take your hands out of it. So you're not using your hands to do everything for you, but you're really sitting in the stability of the legs. If you feel stable enough here, interlace your hands behind your head, lift your elbows towards the ceiling. And then just cradling your head back in your hands. Slow release out. Shift into your left hip. Swing your right leg around in front of you. I'm going to shift a little just so you can see this better. You may want to take a blanket out. You don't have to. I find this is a little easier for me on one. Then left knee out to the side, setting your heel in front of your left groin. Right leg will go directly in front of you, and you're going to start with a bent knee there as well. Drop down inside of the knee. A nice way to support yourself would be to rest your forearm on a block. That may feel like it's enough, but the idea is to try and get your shoulder inside of the knee. And then you'll reach over and grab a hold of your left knee with your right hand. Get your knee right into your palm and think of kind of pushing your knee out into your hand so you get more tension in the arm. And you're going to take this right knee, press it into your outer shoulder, and help rotate yourself around with the knee. So it's really the legs that are doing the work of turning the upper body. From here, left arm will come up and alongside the head. You can stay with that deep bend in the knee, or you can start to slide the leg out, but try and maintain contact between the right shoulder and the right knee. And then continue to press the knee into the shoulder, press your left knee into your hand. You might eventually reach over and grab the foot and then spiral yourself around. So only go there if it feels right for you today. And reach your left arm up, pull yourself out of it, and come on up to sit. And then take a moment just to extend your legs, kind of shake them out. Transition by coming back into that standing forward fold. So just come off of your blankets, find that measurement of hips distance to fists, and then bending the knees, rest the ribs on the thighs, and let your head get heavy. Now, a nice way to change the angle of the shape a little, if you're feeling it, and you have that blanket there, is you can just slide your heels back on the blanket. Balls of the feet stay on the ground, and so you get a different tilt of your pelvis. And take 3 big breaths in through your nose. Exhaling out through your mouth. Release your hands, step off of your blanket onto solid ground. Find your way just back into a downward dog. So you can step off of your props. Move around a moment, pedal out your feet. Prepare to move to the other side. So you could easily just step your right foot forward and go from there. If you're working with your props, take your knees down and set yourself up. Stack your blankets, and then bring your right leg forward. Set your blocks up at the front of the mat if you're using them. Bring your right foot over in front of your left hip, right knee over to the right side of the mat. Coming onto fingertips or hands on blocks, bring yourself upright. Tuck your back toes under, reach back through your heel, and then spin your hips towards the right. Find the blanket with your left thigh, untuck your toes, and then really feel that sensation of plugging your pelvis into the surface beneath you And as you plug your pelvis in, getting a sense of a lift of energy up through the spine. Elongate yourself as you fold at your hips. And then at the last moment, coming to fold in, supporting yourself with blocks however feels right for you. Block underneath the ribs or not. Block underneath the head or not. This time, just let your palms turn up here. So arms are still about shoulder distance. Find your right foot, pinky edge of the foot pressing into the floor. Find about a 90-degree angle within that ankle joint. And then see how that brings you more into your hip. Feel your left foot on the ground, the top of the foot. See if you can find your pinky toenail and connect it down. Slowly lift your head if you're working with these variations. Move the block out from under the ribs. Bring yourself over towards your right knee. And you might even just rest your chest right there on your right thigh. I'm going to grab the block from my forehead, extend the left arm out, reroute your left hip back. Take your breath from your right nostril to your left lung. And then slowly bring yourself through middle. Over to the other side, so you're facing out towards 10 o'clock. Extend the right arm, rest your forehead down. Plug your right butt bone back into the blanket. Take your breath from your left nostril to your right lung. And if you don't feel that, if that feels really foreign, don't worry about it. Just try and visualize it. And this is the way that we draw our imagination into our body. Come back through the middle. Take yourself over to the right again. Keep your block there in the center so that your head will stay on its plumb line. Left elbow in front of the right knee, fist with the left hand, right palm stacks on your left fist. Feel your plug, pelvis to the ground, pelvis to the blanket, and then start to revolve around. One side might feel significantly easier than the other. Twisting in one direction might come with more challenge. Just notice those things for yourself. And then unwind. Bring yourself to the other side, right elbow in front of your right foot. Make a fist with your right hand. Stack your left palm on top and then begin to revolve. Start to bring yourself up. Fingertips to the floor are grabbing blocks. And then maybe you wedge that right foot a little bit more forward, keeping that left foot connected. Get into the low body. So notice the amount that you want to hold yourself up with your hands. And start to take your hands out of it. Maybe you bring your hands over to the side. You can rest your hands on your leg. Or interlacing hands behind the head. Cradle your head back as you lift your elbows. And then continue to spin your hips clockwise. Press your feet into the ground. And slowly release. And swing your left leg around. Right knee is going to go out to the right. I'm going to show you this from the front, just for a different angle. Left leg goes in front of you. And then left shoulder is going to come inside of the knee. Take your right knee with your left hand. And so I'm not mirroring you now, just so you know. I just pivoted. But your left leg will be in front of you. Press your left knee into your shoulder. Press your right knee into your left hand. Take your right arm, extend it so you open your right side body, and then you choose. You can stay with a deep bend. You can start to extend the leg, but only extending this leg while maintaining contact. Support yourself with that fold in the hips. Maybe you take a hold of the foot and begin to spin yourself around. Continuing pressing left knee into left shoulder blade, right knee into left hand, and then reaching your right arm up and slowly bring yourself upright. We'll stay in a seated position now and just take your blankets, and I like to turn them just so that there's some space for my feet. So I'm going to come off of one of those blankets. You might want to stick with two. Bring your blocks in front of you, and then you're gonna cross your left leg on top of your right. Start with your feet a little closer to your hips. We have a tendency to sit towards the bottom foot. So you're gonna pick your butt up, shift a little bit over towards your top foot. So you find yourself centered with a line from your pubic bones straight out to your knees in front of you. Take a hold of your heels, start to spin the hips. And close your eyes here. So imagine again that clock now beneath your pelvis with your pubic bones at 12 o'clock, your right sitting bone at 3 o'clock, your tail at 6, and your left sitting bone at 9. And just keep spinning around all of the hours of the clock. Let your chest and head move as they need to, but feel the movement coming from the hips. And then spin it the other way. And then feel yourself upright, evenly balanced between right and left sitting bone. Open your eyes. Take just a brief moment here to check in with yourself. This is not the easiest shape to sit in, and you might start to feel some intensity of sensation. And rather than jumping out of that, I want to really consider how we can support ourselves to be in that discomfort a little more. So if you notice already that you're sitting back into your tail, get your hips higher. Put another blanket up and get your hips above your knees. Once you find a place you can sit, you might just stay there, and you can place your hands on blocks if you have a tendency to try and hold yourself in it. Take your blocks a little further so you take the effort of the hands out of it. If you want to take this further, you might start to slide your feet out a little. And then if after all of that you want to fold, you're going to take your hands forward. And just like in the pigeon, I'm going to keep my hands on my blocks. So we're not in a rush to get to the ground. And let your eyes close. You think of rooting your left sitting bone back into the blanket as you maybe slide that right hand out a little further. And then rooting right sitting bone back as you slide out to the left hand, left shoulder extending. And then fluttering your eyes open, unfold, bring yourself upright. And then we're simply going to switch legs. So 2 ways that you can do this. You can spin yourself around. Land with the right leg crossed in front if you're really feeling like doing that. Otherwise, just switch the cross of your legs. And then take a moment again, notice if you're sitting over towards your left foot, shift towards your right foot, center your pelvis in front of your knees. Close your eyes. Feel yourself on a plumb line again, crown reaching up towards the ceiling, pelvis plugging you down into the props beneath you, and then start to spin around. So start to stir your water. All right, so we have the containment of the legs crossed, the stability of the pelvis on support, so that we have a functional shape that will hold all of that watery energy. And then start to spin the other direction, noticing again where you go easily, where you don't go. Over time, that will likely shift and change. Maybe sometimes not as fast as you would like it to, but it will shift if you continue to work in this repetition. And bring yourself to sit upright. Take a moment again to check in if you need to lift your hips higher, support yourself differently. Take your hands out. Maybe you slide your feet a little forward. Feel your feet pressing lightly against the ground so you're in your hips. And then chest is going to move out and up, even though the fold may bring you down. Right? Hands can come forward. Keep looking out. Don't worry about how far you get here. Close your eyes. Settle back into the rhythm of your breath. And if this is really intense, maybe you find that ujjayi breath here. And opening your eyes, sit upright again. And then uncross your legs. Now, simply extend your legs out in front of you. I'm going to come back to 2 blankets. And then we're going to finish in a seated forward fold. And now this is a traditional way to finish a Katonah practice in either a seated forward fold or a plow pose. We come into this very internal shape, this Ouroboros of continuous flow of energy. So you can do this in forward fold or you can do this in plow. I am not going to teach plow today. If you're comfortable in it and you can do that on your own, go for it. If that's kind of a mystery to you or not something that feels great in your body, we're going to do forward fold. Start with a bent knee. This fold is almost identical to the standing forward fold. We've just changed the orientation, so we changed the perspective a little. Press down into your prop and then think of kind of sliding your butt bones back and your tail back. So you start to tip more into the front of your pelvis. And you can feel that a little bit of a different way by trying to pull your heels back towards your body. Check in again, feel the fold, feel the length of the spine. This may be enough and you just stay here. Maybe you bend your knees more. And then you're gonna fit yourself, knees right into your armpits. If you can reach, grab your heels, start to slide the heels out as you slide butt bones back. So you're moving apart from end to end rather than pushing the kneecaps out and trying to lock out that middle space. I'm gonna take a couple blocks and stack them to support the head. You can take as much support, blocks, pillows, bolsters, whatever you need under your forehead. And then I'm also going to use this sandbag here, which is really nice if you happen to have one. Is you can take it, place it on your back, and add a little bit of extra weight. And then you'll just turn in, let your forehead get heavy. Keep supporting your upper body with your lower body. Keep that bend in the knees. And then turning your attention back into your breath. You might even work with that Ujjayi breath a little bit. Listening in, soothing yourself with your own breath. Count out 10 more consecutive breaths. Counting, we hold ourselves accountable, right? We give ourselves a duration of time. And during that duration of time, we make a deal with ourselves to show up, to be present, to come to a place of completion so that we don't just stop when we don't feel like doing it anymore, when it gets boring or it gets a little uncomfortable. We stop when we finish. If you're still working your way through your count, stay with it. To exit out of this shape, grab a hold of elbows as we did in that standing forward hang, and then start to lift your head and look out and think of that turtle putting its head out of its shell again. If the sandbag is there, just let it drop away as you come up. Stretch your elbows out. Same unfolding as we did into that chair. Unhinge at the hips. Elbows reach up. Start to pull your heels back a little bit to stay forward on your pelvis. So you come out in a little bit of a back bend. And take your right hand rested on your left knee. Drop your left fingertips behind you. Stay up on your plumb line as you revolve to look over your left shoulder. And then take it around the other way. Then coming to face forward again, shaking out a little through the legs. And then we'll finish there.